I work on a lifter for my shuttle. Mission Control is picking up a shimmy. And Colonel Valley ferries up tourists for a cash-strapped KSC. All of this and more coming up right now. Hello everyone, and welcome as I dig through the contracts. Oh, got a new one from Kerbal Academy. These are the ones that give your Kerbals experience. Flight school. I could use higher level pilots. One thing I have been ignoring is this actually costs you money when you accept it. Though I swear it's been costing me money when I complete them too. As much as I would love a level 3 pilot, this is a flight school one, so if it's pilots, it would be you need Lagerfurt and Verbary together. And this one would seem to be Verbary's training. Oh, and it's just flying the training course. Oh, that is so worth it. That is so worth it. So it's not... Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Lagerfurt sitting on the ground as well. I could take Verbary. I don't know where Verbary is. I think... Yep. I don't care about the money. It costs money, but I don't care. This will train up Verbary. I would love to get some more higher level pilots. I should take a look where Verbary is. Verbary's available for the next mission, so this is perfect. Still gotta wait on Lagerfurt, which is gonna be 15 days, but that's okay. A flyby of the moon with 4 tourists. I could absolutely do that. I have a craft that holds 6 Kerbals. 330. I need to start getting some more money. Let's take some tourists on a flyby of the moon. Alright, what do we got coming up in Kerbal construction time? Okay, looks like our space shuttle is gonna be done first, doesn't it? Oh, it's just by a little bit. Alright, we're going to be building some stuff, so let's do that. Alright, there it is. We're not doing anything with this. This is just to get it built, and then we're going to recover it into the VAB, and then from there we're going to put a booster on it. I have made some changes to it. The cargo bay is longer. Let's open that up. Because I recognized, and some people may have recognized this last episode when I was designing this. Why are we I still got the brakes. There we go. While I was designing this, I had actually only grabbed half of that Maxwell 9 probe that I originally wanted to build this towards. And so I had to extend the cargo bay. I also added a bit more monopropellant to give it some more fuel, so it should be able to... It can now handle up to about 2.4 tons of payload, and a reasonably large payload as well. I didn't test fly it. I just trusted the spaceplane hangar center of mass, center of lift. We might have to test fly this at some point in a simulation before we actually use it for real. But what I want to do right now is I want to take this thing, cover it into the vehicle assembly building, and then we're going to edit this and build a booster for it. Now, one of the things with shuttles too is the real shuttlecraft had these guys, the orbital engine. Well, they weren't they had liftoff engines and then separate orbital engines. And the liftoff, the 3 large engines that were at the back of the real shuttle, were angled inwards to deal with the offset center of mass, because the thing, of course, was asymmetric with the big external fuel can and the external boosters and that kind of thing. I didn't build that. You can see I kept it lighter by simply putting on just orbital engines, and that is it. And we'll see how this goes, but kind of my plan is to build a symmetrical booster. There's no reason why you have to follow real life. I'm going to keep it simple and build me a symmetrical booster. Maybe in a future one we'll build an asymmetrical booster, but that's the way I was planning to go with this one. What if I went with, let's put it on here, 3-way symmetry. I could put them down here. So I didn't like the fact that these were attached to the cargo bay doors. It probably, from a practical purpose, wouldn't make a difference, but I think this should work all right. And then we're just going to build some big-ass LFO boosters. Now, this thing only has a mass of 6 tons. If we take a look at and organize these by cost, my various boosters... Oh, this can be deleted. A 6-ton booster. Here's one that does 8 tons. That's like the kind of size I'm looking at. Why be more complicated than you need to be? Oh, don't forget this thing will have a payload in it. Okay. I am not thinking about payload at all. Okay, let's put in a dummy mass of about 2.4 tons. So let's grab this fuel tank. 165. Happy with that. Okay. Put the rocket back on there. Okay, so there's an appropriate mass of payload. Now I'm underneath the required delta V. So what can I do? I could build the boosters a little higher. Okay, the delta V seems alright. The launch thrust is not. No, not enough thrust. So I need bigger engines on the bottom. We have the Caravel. Not seen these. That definitely fixes my thrust problem. Now, I might not have... I may have a torque issue. This might not be quite centered. What's the torque say on this bottom stage? S2. Reasonable amount of torque here. So let's see if we can not fix that issue. So center mass, center thrust. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to select this decoupler. We're going to remove that symmetry. We're going to put this on radial symmetry. And we're going to adjust the position of these two side ones and see if we can not reduce this torque a little bit. Okay, I'm looking at this torque number. I want that to be lower. That brings it lower. So they need to come more inwards towards the center here. Now the reaction wheels can handle some torque. So we do have some ability to deal with torque. It should be able to handle that. I mean, I got 3 sets of reaction wheels plus a reaction wheels in the payload bay, plus reaction wheels in the cockpit. I'm thinking this should work. Now, one thing I want to try and do, and I'm not sure what effect this has. My launch script is kind of designed for all the vessels to be in this orientation when on the pad, because this is the default orientation when you build stuff in the VAB, but I'm really inclined, let's change the root part back to the cockpit. I'm kind of inclined to want this to go up this way. But I don't know what my launch script's going to do. It might roll this back to the way it was. We'll see. We'll see what it does. Oh, you know what I didn't look at was positions of center of mass and center of lift. Especially considering these wings, the center of lift might be very, very high. And I wasn't looking at that. That might go badly. Oh, okay, my Panorama module is ready. Sort of, because we're in simulation, so it'll go back. But one thing at a time. Let's see. Run. Launch. 080. And yeah, let's just see what this does. This could go very badly. In fact, if this goes completely without a hit, there go. Okay, so that's that roll. It wasn't disastrous. It rolled it right off, right at launch. But oh, might adapt. I have to think about maybe looking at my launch script and seeing if it rolls it to that inverted attitude. Once you have these planes, it looks funny this way. But amazingly, this is flying. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it. Oh, and I'm also realizing... Oh, it's fighting back, and it's lost it. Okay, so back into here. Terminate simulation. One thing I'm recognizing as well is these boosters would be separated in orbit and will be left there as debris. Okay, one thing at a time. Let's first look at the mass and the lift. I don't know. I thought that would be... because that doesn't look terrible. What if on launch you simply just disabled these control surfaces? Maybe that was part of the issue. Let's try that. It's not going to make any changes. Let's run the simulator again. I mean, I could put big-ass fins down there on the bottom. It's going to work. But what I'm thinking is disabling these completely. So disabling the roll on those. Disabling the yaw on the roll. Oh, wait, that's the opposite of what I want to do. Disabling the pitch on those. Maybe leaving those. If this does not work, we'll just put tail fins on the bottom. Yeah, I can see these lift on these wings. There. And it starts, yeah, that's not cutting it. So we need, yeah, so I can see what's happening here. It's starting to get lift off the wings, it's correcting, it's overcorrecting, and it's losing attitude control. And then the program aborts automatically. Okay, so again, terminate simulation. I think I do need fins here on the bottom. So hopefully these fins on the bottom here will help counteract the lift that I'm getting off these wings at the top. It's always a bit of the challenge with a shuttle. It might fly better in the other orientation too. That requires changes to my launch script. Yeah, I think by the time I launch this to real, I want to play with my launch script. Even if this works, it looks funny. I mean, I could just rotate all my vessels in the VAB so that they're in that inverted attitude on the launch pad, but I know I'll mess that up. What I could do is simply add a parameter to the script that says if it's something like a shuttle, I want you to be the other way. And for all the other rockets, these symmetrical rockets, I want you to be this way. Oh, no, here it comes again. Shoot. Come on, hang on, and it's gone. I should really add an abort action group onto this, by the way. And while I'm in here, why don't I remove the payload as well? Where did the payload sloshing around might be causing that oscillation, so we'll take the payload out, and there's one less variable for now to worry about. Okay, so now there is no payload. Oh, I'm starting to see the oscillating again. Oh, it aborted. So the abort worked. That's not me that pushed abort, that was the script. If it detects that we're a bit off course, it does that. Well, that's kind of fun. Okay, this is not a bad test of this thing anyway. If the abort's working, let's take those lines off that are bothering me. Let's see, can we get to the runway? Might not be able to, but I mean, we could easily ditch. Oh boy, we need to turn. Oh, we got pieces falling. Oh, they all fell in the water. Not a bad test of this thing's aerodynamics. And of the abort system. Let's... Get down. Brakes. There you go. Test wasn't a complete failure. It flies. So it's not the payload. That's not what the issue is. There is an issue. Like if I put on the thrust and the lift, there's way more lift that way. Maybe is getting that lift and thrust and mass to be all lined up. Could maybe just simply putting those on the other side. I know you do want to line up lift and thrust in, but maybe that will calm down those oscillations. The other thing that might fix it is a better launch script. No, it's still happening. And the script called the abort. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna add some stuff to the script and I want it to go up in that inverted flight orientation next time. But I'm also having my doubts of the center of lift indicator here in the VAB. I don't think this thing's telling me the truth. Why is that not really affecting lift? Put them on this one, it does. See, I got me a feeling that lift indicator just flat out isn't right. I'm just going to go straight up and lock it on prograde and see which way it tends to go. That'll give us an indication of where it's unbalanced. So we're just going to go straight up. Straight up, straight up. And we picked our 50 meters per second. It's going to lock it on prograde and see what it tends to want to do. Leaning a little bit that way, but that might have been just what it was doing anyway. Just want to see if it stays stable this way. So it's pitching down. Now it's really starting to pitch down. So it's pitching down, that means the lift is too far this way. That's what it would indicate to me. You know what, it might be good enough. Let's restart this, and this time use the KOS script. Launch zero inclination, 80 kilometers for the target apoapsis, but I've set this up to take one more parameter as to the flight orientation you want. So this flight orientation, there's a default one where the top of the cockpit's pointing south. Now the top of the cockpit's pointing east, and I would call that an inverted flight orientation or flight attitude, because as you pitch towards the east, the ship is going to be with the blue on the bottom on the Navball. So to indicate that, I've added another parameter, which is I. And so that's just there. That parameter says I am oriented in this inverted orientation. Don't roll it other ways. That's what that was. A pretty simple thing for it to add a period. Let's launch this. And I'm hoping this works pretty well. And by the way, if you're interested in any of these KOS scripts that I use, I have posted them all onto our Discord in a GitHub. So you can get them, you can play with them, you can add suggestions, whatever it is you like. So if you're into KOS, that might be a good reason for you to pop by there if you haven't already. You know that it's when it starts oscillating like that, that's when we get a bit of a problem, and this is not good. This is not, there it goes. And as far as it's concerned, it's lost it. Okay. I just think where it's showing the center of lift here is just flat out wrong. I just don't think that's right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two. That's kind of where I want them to go, right there. I just don't think this is right, because according to this, with the center of lift, which you can read also as the center of drag for a rocket, this thing should have a tendency to dramatically pitch upwards from the pilot's perspective, from the cockpit perspective. I'm kind of very curious whether it will. The other thing I might do is just churn down the authority limiter, but let's because that might help with that overcorrecting business. But right now, let's just not muck with that. These authority limiters have been, they have not been adjusted. Oh, there's something to think about too. I have not adjusted authority limiters on that one for, no, I have the thrust. Oh, I did the same thing where I turned down the deploy angle, thought I was turning down the authority limiter. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. This makes no sense that I turned down the deploying. It's a rudder, for goodness sakes. Alright, one thing at a time. Did I adjust that one? I did adjust that one. Alright, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. According to the VAB, this thing's going to want to pitch towards the east. Dramatically. I don't know about you, but I think now that's pretty frickin' straight up. I'm pretty sure I wasn't getting an accurate where the center of lift was. There's also engine gimbaling on these. You know what, maybe. Let's disable everything. We're just going to disable all of this stuff so that these things are simply there to bring the center of drag down towards the bottom of the rocket. They're there for stability, but they're not there for attitude control. And while I'm at it, I'm a little nervous about this because I know me, I will forget to turn these back on during our descent, but you know what? Do it. Everything. All of these control surfaces are off, and I'll have to remember to turn them on when we come back down. So no control surface, aerodynamic control surfaces during the ascent. Everything's going to be handled by gimbaled engine. God, even with this symmetrical booster arrangement that I have on this shuttle, shuttles are still a pain in the back end. I don't think I've gotten to 10 kilometers yet, so this is new. This is new, and of course the higher we get, the less of a factor aerodynamics become. I think I've got to. I could have solved this problem a long time ago. I even wonder if I need all these tail fins on here, but you know what? I think I might just keep them. Looks kind of good. So, it's just an authority issue more than anything else. I'm going to call this done. We'll save it. We'll get Kerbal construction time to start building. I'm getting a little nervous with funds. 53,450. The simulations are part of the reason why I'm tight for funds, but the real culprit are these training contracts from Kerbal Academy that I keep picking up. I'll have to pay really attention the next time I do one of those. But in the meantime, I think I'm ready for our Panorama module. But you saw me designing this last episode. It's got 2 modules on its way to Kerbin Station. One, this beautiful, it's like the copula module on steroids. And some extra solar panels. Okay, and here we go with our... Whoa, 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 what the heck? I've got a little bit of wobbling happening here. I don't like that. I don't remember that from testing. And it just aborted. Shoot! Shoot, 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 shoot. I'm worried about don't you dare land on the pad. Okay, why? Okay, this is not good. Why did that do that? Okay. Alright, we are good. That's not good. Okay. Let's just lock that on the prograde. I was just worried. The script aborted that and simply shut down the engine, but it hadn't gotten very far. There we go. It hadn't gotten very far, and I was worried it was going to fall right back down on the launch pad. Shoot, I tested this. Why did that happen? Oh, what a pain. Okay, well, and yeah, with me losing money, hemorrhaging money left, right, and center, that's not a good thing. I don't even know if I have the cost, if I can afford to rebuild this thing. I mean, it could have been worse. We could have blown up the launch pad. I mean, it is a big, heavy thing on a very thin, small thing. The struts seem properly connected. I could just do the old auto strut thing. I think I'm going to. So this auto strut, the heaviest part. Auto strut. I really have mixed feelings about the auto strut. Like, I just think sometimes it's just necessary. Alright, this is a $38, almost $39,000 rocket with my $54,000 left. I mean, at least I can barely afford to rebuild it. But I do want to test this. So let's save this. Run another simulation. Maybe I got lazy doing simulations. Maybe I was getting a little bit bored. I don't know. Thought I would have simulated it. Now, yeah, so the auto strutting seems to have fixed the issue. Maybe I auto strutted it and then didn't save it. I mean, that's an entirely possible thing I could have done. But definitely that wobbliness is now solved. Alright, I'm going to terminate this because I'm not going to afford to run it much longer. Can't explain what happened. My memory doesn't go back that far. Yay! 13,797 Kerb bucks left. Hooray for me. Alright, so this is Magneto Probe 1. It was launched a few episodes ago, and what I want to show you is what it's doing right now. Here, we'll just show it. Oh, let's turn everything off. It is in the lower, if I can get it to show, okay, that one, there we go. It is in the lower radiation belt in low space collecting magnetometer science, and if we take a look at the magnetometer report, it has now completed everything in the inner belt. This is the inner belt in low space, but we can also collect inner belt in high space, and so all we got to do, stay within the inner belt, but increase the altitude of this orbit to over 250 kilometers. So that is a pretty easy thing to do. So we're going to simply push this thing to prograde right now. This thing eventually is going to collect all of the magnetometer data that I can get in space about Kerbin. I also, maybe I can show it to you, I also have a probe that I launched, I believe it was the same episode. Oh my god, there's too many of these. Called Magneto Probe 2. There it is. And it's in a polar orbit. It's going to stay in low space, so it can do, if I turn off this one, there we go. It can get low space, but get the outer belt, though it'll take it a while to do that. So, all we got to do is get back to here, put this onto the prograde vector, got to watch our apoapsis. I'm just going to put it up to maybe like 260, not much. And we'll just throttle up a little bit. Oh no! Kerbalism has struck. These ants usually have a ton of ignitions in them. And regardless, it just had a failure. That happens. Okay, so we are not going up there. We have to stay where we are at, but that's not entirely terrible because this is yellow, and if the malfunction is yellow, that means a Kerbal, an engineer, can fix it. And I mean, I got a ton of Kerbals, including an engineer sitting on Kerbin Station. They have vehicles. We're not that far. We're only in an equatorial 240 kilometer orbit. We can get here from Kerbin Station. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Nespa problem. But back here at the Space Center, at the LKO supply, this is a supply ship for the station. It's 15 minutes from rolling out. But I do have a Puff Mark II. I have one in reserve, but I always want to keep one in reserve. But it's only a few hours away. And the plan is to send up, I believe it's Colonel Valley and 4 tourists. Colonel Valley has a contract to fly by the moon to get some experience. It's a Kerbal Academy flight training contract. The 4 tourists want to do an orbit of the moon. That was specifically picked to shore up the coffers. It gives you quite a bit of cash. And they can very easily stop by that Magneto probe and fix the engine. They'll take an engineer out with them. Let's take a look at the administration building. What have I got? I got fundraising, which takes 25% of reputation and converts it to funds. I could pump that up because I have a lot of reputation. I could pump that up to 60%. I could take this, I can cancel it, but now if I want to put it up to, yeah, confirm, 60%. Okay, so do this again. We can put this up to 60%. Setup cost is 44 rep. Okay, I'm cool with that. I was worried this was going to cost me more money. I can afford the rep. You sure you want to activate this strategy? Yes. So now I'm 60% of reputation gains are going to funds. Hopefully that will help a little bit. Enough yammering. Let's get this thing rolled out. Okay, and we are off, and this is just simply a supply barge. Bringing up mostly life support items up to Kerbin Station so that it can... They actually have quite a lot of life support, but I have picked up another one of those space camp contracts, and so I'm not quite sure when I'll start ferrying up the Kerbals for that. But once I start getting them up there, I definitely want that station to be full and ready with supplies. And eventually, there we go. Some point. Okay, we are docked. We need to transfer over resources. And we're going to use the TAC Fuel Balancer mod for this because this makes this way less frustrating. You don't have to go hunting down each of those individual containers. And on a vessel like this, there are so many containers, it just drives you crazy doing resource transferring. And TAC Fuel Balancer makes your life a lot easier. And by the way, this is all life support stuff that we're transferring aboard. We are doing food, oxygen, and nitrogen. No water because the water reclamation on the station is actually working very well. They are topped up as far as water goes. But this will also top up their food, their oxygen, and their nitrogen. That'll keep them going for a long, long time. There's actually one other thing I also brought up, but for that we're going to have to EVA our engineer Bill and use KAS to install it. And you can see here I'm still playing with 1.10. One of my favorite things that I think is in 1.11 is the ability to remove their parachutes and EVA packs. Because why does Bill have a parachute on right now? I can't answer that question. But anyway, I pulled that in there and didn't even show you what it was. This is a GravMax negative gravioli detector. A new bit of science that I have unlocked. And what we're going to do is we're going to install this new bit of science onto our Carries 1, this vehicle right here. And then it can go around and start collecting some of that stuff. This is, of course, using the Kerbal Attachment System mod, which with 1.11, I'm not sure if I would... I don't know. It's a little different, but it might be familiar enough that I can see a lot of people maybe saying, yeah, I don't know why I don't need a mod like Kerbal Attachment System. I'm not sure when or even if this series will go to 1.11. I will be honest. I don't know if I want to get rid of Kerbal Attachment System, but I don't know how Kerbal Attachment System is going to work with 1.11. I'm not sure what 1.11 adds a few things beyond that. Also, Aviation Lights, but I'm dealing with that with mod. Oh, I think I'm getting mixed up between the two inventory systems stocking this. I think I have to drag it. Let go. Yes, there we go. Oh boy. H and attach. Bill's floating away. Okay, escape. Let's try that again. This is why I usually bring a ladder with me. H and... there we go. Though I do like the sort of laser welder that they have in stock now. I think that's a pretty fun little gizmo. Okay, and here we have another launch of the Puff Mark II. Actually, this is only the second launch of this vessel. And at the helm here we have Colonel Valley Kerman, and the reason why we got Colonel Valley Kerman is because I have a Kerbal Academy Advanced Piloting contract, which suggests that Colonel Valley would love to do a flyby of the moon and thus earning him some experience. Also along we have 4 tourists, and these 4 tourists want to do a flyby of the moon. Yep, so that kind of coincides nicely with what will get Colonel Valley some training. And for that we're going to get, well, a whole bunch of money. That's I need the money, so I might need to start doing more of these sort of touristy contracts. But I mean, Colonel Valley wants to head out there anyway, so that's what's going to happen. Now, of course, this Puff Mark II is not going to be going to the moon. This is just going to Kerbin Station, but at Kerbin Station we have the Carries 1, which is fully capable of going to the moon, and it's going to have a side mission to take Bill out to the defunct Magneto Probe 1, and we're going to fix that little engine, the little ant engine that's on it. Alright, and there we go, the fairings, and you can see we are in our inverted flight attitude, which is clearly much, much better for a space plane, especially when you consider the fact that from here it looks way cooler to see Kerbin below you there upside down like that. Hey, it's one thing, it's so nice to have these monoprop engines where you don't have to worry about the number of ignitions. Monoprop engines have infinite ignitions, they won't fail. Well, maybe it's possible they can fail, I don't know. I thought there was a ton of ignition still left on that little spark engine that failed, but... or the ant engine that failed. But it's nice to be able to come in, do something like this, and not really have to worry about ignitions, and you can just kind of poke your way, get in there nice and good. Oh, I can start to see the target icon on the Navball, though I can't see the actual docking port. I'm a little bit... yeah, let's just push a little this way. I don't want to end up hitting the nose of this as I come by. I think I need to come a little more this way. Nope, that's the way to slow down. Slow down, Chuckles. That's slowing us down, yeah. Oh my golly. I have no sense of depth. I can't even see the docking port, but I'm heading to it. Oh, I love that docking alignment point indicator. Okay, let's just do this. In we go. In we go. Perfect. No sense of depth. That's for sure in this game. Some of the trickiest parts of docking is the fact you have no depth perception. It's hard to tell when I was past that other ship, but we clearly have this all lined up. Alright, we're there. Toggle that torque. We are docked, so what we need to do is get folks aboard. And then finally, what I want to do is actually EVA bill again. I've decided that I am going to just stick the gravioli detector on the station somewhere. That makes, I think, much more sense, given that it takes over 80 days to complete the experiment. So we'll leave it here attached to Kerbin Station, which of course will just remain here in low orbit. And then we'll send up some probes with some gravioli detectors to get it in high space and around the moon and all that kind of stuff. Okay, and attach. Alright. We'll get Bill aboard the carries along with Theomon and the tourists. We need to get ready for this trip. And before these folks head off, we do want to make sure that they are well equipped. And definitely it is out of fuel. So let's open up fuel balancer. Hopefully I got enough fuel on the station to actually load this up. I'm not convinced I do, to be honest. I got a feeling that's it. So let's go in. I hope I don't have to bring up fuel. It's bringing in fuel from somewhere else. That's it. This is the only tank that's not full. We'll see how much Delta V it has once we put. So we have, and then we should have another tourist. Wow, some of them are in a pretty bright room. All right. Food is high. Ablator doesn't matter. Wastewater, whatever. Liquid fuel. They do not. What's their Delta V at? 779. That is not enough. Shoot! Shoot. There's a big empty can. Their biggest can of fuel is empty. That is not good. Alright, so we'll have to redock, and there's no more liquid fuel on the station? There is no more liquid fuel on the station, and 779 meters per second? Trip out to the moon is like about 8. That's not going to cut it. Not going to cut it, especially with a stop at the ones. Okay, so we're going to redock. And we're gonna have to send up some fuel for this thing. Shoot. Okay. Clearly I need to send up a fuel barge. I need to load this thing up with some more liquid fuel. I hope I can afford it. But that's gonna have to be a problem for the next episode. So I'm gonna thank you for watching and hope to see you then.